This story comes to us from thedenverchannel.com. All right, remember the off-duty cop that got into it with teenagers because they were parked in the middle of the road, which people all the time do here. You either honk at them or you go around them, but this guy went off. Remember that? And then there was gunfire. And some of you said, well, the cop, he defended himself. The kid was the aggressor. No, the cop was the aggressor. He was the one screaming and yelling at him and getting out of the car. He didn't know what he was going to do. He probably had his gun when he got out of his car, because apparently he's being charged. The 18th Judicial District Attorney's Office has filed charges against a former Greenwood Village police officer in the deadly November 24th shooting of a 17-year-old.
On Wednesday, police arrested Holin. He's facing charges for second-degree murder, felony menacing, and prohibited use of a weapon. 9 News legal expert Scott Robinson told us tonight that he's not surprised by the charges. He says the case centers on who was the initial aggressor. And Marshall, if convicted on second-degree murder, Robinson says Holin would face at least 16 years in prison. Sentencing enhancers, though, could add to that.
And sentencing enhancers are stuff we're going to learn a lot about, because there's a lot of discussion over sentencing in the state. Absolutely. Thanks, Luis.
The Aurora Police Department, The Aurora Police Department says Holin turned himself in at 3:04 p.m. He was arrested and booked into the Aurora Detention Center, where he was being held on a $50,000 bond before bonding out at approximately 8:10 p.m. $50,000. Now, if one of us who weren't cops committed this crime, we'd be on a $100,000 bond or $500,000 bond. $50,000.
There's a huge weight lifted off now that it's been locked down to that where we do have charges.
Todd Blitzstein's son, Peyton, was 17 years old. Investigators say it started with an argument over careless driving in a neighborhood in Aurora. It ended in a shootout between Peyton and 36-year-old Adam Holin, a former Greenwood Village police officer. Holin was hurt. Peyton died.
It's very hard still to process, because there's still a lot going on in those in that video. So we're hoping that I'm still hoping to see some justice come out and some other things come out of that video that hopefully provides some more information.
Holin allegedly exchanged gunfire with Peyton Blitzstein around 10:30 p.m. He was 17 years old. And it was in the 4900 block of South Addison Way in Aurora on November 24th. Blitzstein died in the shooting, and Holin was also shot but survived, Aurora police announced. Detectives said Holin and a group of teenagers had started arguing about careless driving in the neighborhood before the shooting.
Don't. I have a camera. I'm calling the cops. Then you could have asked me that instead of being a creep all pulling up to my house like that.
Okay, cool. So it's her neighborhood that you're speaking for. How is your neighborhood? We don't know. It's my neighborhood. You don't own all this? You want all this for you? I own all of it. You don't drive it. Go back to drive, bro. Go back to drive. You think that's your life, bro? This is not your neighborhood. That's your life. You do not. Go, nigga.
Hey! No! Who are you?
Kidding me?
Is that Jacob? No, that's Peyton! Get the fuck inside!
Aurora police submitted a second-degree murder warrant to the district attorney's office December 16th. Following news of the warrant, Todd Blitzstein, Peyton Blitzstein's father, held a press conference saying, "I was hoping for a first-degree charge, but if it's a second degree that we got to go with, let's do it." The father said he couldn't discuss details of how or why his son was carrying a gun on the night of November 24th. Well, who cares? He was carrying a gun. Colorado's an open carry, right? However, he did it. Well, he's 17, so he wouldn't be allowed, huh? But however, he did elaborate on how the situation has affected him and his loved ones at the loss of his son. Extremely chaotic, extremely hard on a daily basis, and not knowing where Peyton's fate or our fate was going to go. We were worried about a lesser charge. It's been up and down roller coaster for everybody. And they said this is a developing story. Of course it is.
I have a camera.
Amber Roseborough's doorbell camera captured some of what happened that night.
It's a bittersweet feeling for sure, just to know that there's charges going on.
She says her daughter was driving that night and still struggles with what happened.
That it's okay to walk away. None of this should have happened. It didn't have to. And the way that an adult is behaving to children, it's not okay. It's not okay.
Now, standing together, Roseborough and Blitzstein share a common goal.
Peyton deserves justice.
Well, he's a former cop now, and he's being charged with second-degree murder. So apparently he didn't do the right thing. Which I had said from the get-go, he shouldn't even did. He should have just been like, you know what, I'll just call some buddies over, call 911. Hey, there's these kids, man, they're racing up down the street. Blah, 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 blah. Can you get over here? Send a Karen with you. That's what he should have did. Not get out of the car with his gun, freaking going off. So I don't know. This is an I think the cop was wrong. What do you all think?